Big Blend travel writer Linda Kassam, the food, wine, and shopping diva, recently took a little trip to Lafayette, Louisiana, and from her photos and travel story, and I was following her on social media, just drooling out of looking at the food, jealous at the foot stomp and music, just really jealous about going on the nature tours and the Tabasco, the actual Tabasco site. This is amazing. It looks like the diva found out just how much the region likes to let the good times roll.
That's it.
Yeah, her story is in the January through March issue, 2019 issue of Parks and Travel magazine. But you can also see it right now if you go to nationalparktraveling.com, just type in Linda, Louisiana, or just go in our Louisiana section. You'll see it in the articles there. And Diva Linda is back on Big Blend Radio with us today, and she's going to tell us about her adventures, which we are really jealous, right, Nancy?
Oh, for sure.
And she's got two special guests joining us. We've got Benjamin J. Berthelot. He is the president and CEO of the Lafayette Convention and Visitors Commission. And check out their website, LafayetteTravel.com. And we also have Captain Tucker Friedman. He is the owner of the Atchafalaya Basin Landing and Marina. And I encourage you to go to his website, basinlanding.com. I know Diva Linda went on an airboat.
I would like to see that.
I know. Welcome back, Diva Linda. How are you?
High heels.
Yeah, what kind of shoes do you wear for an airboat?
Well, regular tennis shoes with lots of little sparklies. It was very exciting. I had a wonderful time. For a little sparkly jacket because it's a little cold when you get up on that water, but it was fun. And Captain Tucker was amazing. It was the highlight of my tour.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Captain Tucker,
Wow.
it's the diva here, so she's obviously put her diva approved stamp on your, I was going to say your swamp tour. Is it an actual swamp tour, or is it different than a swamp?
Yeah, it actually is a swamp. It's the nation's largest natural river swamp, actually, the Atchafalaya Basin, and we're about the center of it. As far as the length of it, it's about 135 miles long, and we're about halfway up in the system there.
Wow.
So how does it feel to be diva approved?
Yeah. Did you ever know you were being diva watched? I know, but
it's just another notch in my belt, I guess.
There you go.
There it is. Careful, she'll leave you sparklies for your belt. I would also bring
That's my man.
Benjamin on the show too. I know Diva Linda going out to Lafayette. She's like very much like Nancy and I, and we've traveled together too. That we're always looking for a sense of place, and she called it authentic. Would you say that in regards to the state or Lafayette itself?
Well, I think that's a fabulous compliment, and we appreciate that, Linda. And I think that word really nails it, although, it's kind of a word that everybody tends to use, but there's a tendency for folks to think that they can find Cajun in New Orleans, and you can certainly find that if you look very hard, but we pride ourselves in being the heart of Cajun country, and where you can experience authentic Cajun food, Cajun music, the Cajun lifestyle every day.
And
Nice.
Diva Linda, diva approved stamp, right, for the whole area, because you had too much fun over there.
I did have too much fun. You know how much I love traveling in small town America. I mean, I just do. And this was a much different experience for me because everything was so interwoven. So when you go to lunch, dinner, breakfast, tends to be music. The food tends to sort of express the area. That's that sense of taste and place that we talk about. It just all rolls into one, and it's not like you have to go to point A to see one thing and point B to see another. It's just it just sort of rolls and entwines itself so that you feel that you're not in a tourist area, that you feel more that you're in a real place with real people and real cultural stuff going on. It's fabulous, really is.
It's
Great
those
time.
breakfasts, man. I want to wake up to Cajun music and have breakfast that way. I mean, that's why to call it the happiest city in America. Everyone's starting off their day with music and some dancing, And apparently there's rum too.
Mm-hmm.
There's rum. You went to a rum tasting and a wine tasting?
Wow.
I did. Who knew that they had rum? Who would know? That's why you go to these places, so you find these things out. So we went to a small distillery, and the gentleman took us on a tour. It's very small, but the rum, he's got a different way of distilling it. It's a more pure and less junked up, and it's just smooth. And if you like rum, you're gonna love this stuff. I mean, there's not even it's the difference between Hershey's and Godiva chocolate. I mean, it's just unbelievably wonderful. Yeah, but who knows? I mean, I think he has. Yeah, you can do the testing, and you should. And he has generous pour. So yeah, and then I like to see if there's a wine, anything to do with wine. And we went to a lovely small business called My Somm, and the gentleman there he's a true lover of wine. Some people open wine shops because they like wine or I don't know, whatever. But this guy, he has a wonderful technical background in it, and smart, young, and just really is impressive. So you can go in there, small shop with a big feeling, and you can have a private tasting, you can have a public tasting, but maybe the best thing he does, the best Diva approved thing he does is he listens to you about what type of wine you like and is able to pick bottles in various categories, price categories, etc., that will fit what you're asking him about. So, a lot of times you ask, where does everybody start? Sweet wine. Everybody loves sweet wine. And on our tour, we had several people who wanted sweet. Well, sometimes when you ask somebody who owns a wine shop about sweet wine, they want to sort of take you over to a fruit forward wine. That's not a sweet wine. A sweet wine is much different. And I love the fact that he could hear that and that he found wines that I would have done for these people. And then we had a couple really people who really love wine and had some real serious questions about some bottles they wanted. And he makes a switch, and away he goes finding those bottles in the price ranges. So really like him. His name is Ben.
I wanted to ask Ben. I want to go back to the rum. I'm happy about the wine because this is. I remember a lot of good cocktails in southern Louisiana. But I wanted to go back to Rank Wildcat Spirits, being the rum distillery, because Nancy and I, last time we were in Lake Charles, there was a rum distillery one called Bayou Rum. Ben, do you see? I know you have the Boudin Trail, so I'm wondering, is the rum trail the next thing for southern Louisiana?
Ooh. That's a good point. And the state actually put together a little spirits trail, but it has been a great thing for our area. Lafayette didn't have an official cocktail, and so we formed what's called the Roulette after the last word of Laissez les bon temps rouler. And the Roulette is made up of the sweet crude rum, and David Moe is the gentleman who runs that operation. And so we launched that about, I guess, 2 years ago. The official cocktail of Lafayette Parish is called the Roulette, and it's been a big hit.
Ooh,
that's it. That. And I'm going. I know we started with, cocktails first on this conversation, but it kind of happens that way here. But the other thing, Diva Linda, what's the sipping of absinthe? Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
With that.
I remember that being like something, that was a big naughty thing.
Yeah, it's a big, yes, and now it's very accessible. So, marijuana used to be naughty. It's no longer naughty. So now absinthe is you got to get used to it. It's a, it has a very strong taste to it, very strong smell to it, but it's, once you understand its history and so forth, it's very exciting. You can, and I think the most exciting part is that you can find this liqueur, if that's how we're going to, more of a spirit, at a restaurant in Lafayette, and you can just order it by the glass, a little glass. It's one of those things that you want, a little glass. But more importantly, it's called the place where this is called Tapas and Absinthe Tasting at Paloma Tapas Bar. Pamplona Tapas Bar. Anyway, is that they have a full tableside service of absinthe. So there's a way that you drink this, and it has to do with melting the sugar cube into it and so forth, and warming it up. I will tell you what, if you go to the Tapas Bar, you've got to ask for that service. Because everything was hosted, I don't know how much it was, but I don't care how much it was. it was fabulous. I've never seen anything like it. I've traveled the world. I've had this spirit before in other countries, but never seen it presented this way. And if you get a chance, make sure that you do this. This was eye-opening for me. Wonderful. It's great. Great experience.
We're making notes.
Sure.
Let me tell you, Linda Kassam, Diva, she didn't just write an article. She wrote her own mini guide. I know. She wrote a mini guide to Lafayette.
That's music to my ears.
No, seriously, just you wait. Just you wait and see this, because she really went to town, and I went, Diva loved this area, and I was really excited. Definitely when it comes down to seeing, because a lot of us know that. A lot of us, including myself now, that I'm going on the road for full time. Nancy and I are on our Love Your Parks tour, which is actually part of how we discovered your region a few years ago, and started exploring Louisiana. We're on a tour to visit every single unit within the National Park Service and cover those parks and the gateway communities and all the parks. And
as well.
Yeah, so I'm very excited because Diva Linda did a couple on our list, and again, we're jealous, but we'll get there. You not only did the Atchafalaya Basin Landing Tour and that area, which I think is kind of connected to this National Heritage Area and Wildlife Refuge, but you also got a dose of the history of this area, and that you went to the Jean Lafitte, and Ben, tell me if I'm saying this correctly, Jean Lafitte National Historical Park and Preserve and Acadian Cultural Center. So that kind of gave you an idea of the nature and the different people of the region, right, Diva Linda?
Yeah, so I think if you like history, and this is a great place to go on your tour of Lafayette, and you go to a beautiful, my gosh, I don't know where the funding came for this, but it's beautiful. It's staffed by park rangers. They have displays. They have a beautiful movie that explains the history of the area. Everybody is very excited to share all the photos and the movie and so forth with you. And I think what's really cute about this is that kids, and as I learned later, adults can earn a junior ranger badge on the day they visit. That's the way to do it. That's the way to engage children and their parents, and have something to bring back that is better than and I don't know, a rabbit's foot. It's just smart marketing and smart tourism, and on beautiful, oh my God, beautiful grounds. Because attached to it, just like a couple minutes, is something called Tour of Vermilionville, and that's one of those heritage parks, folk life park, where they've taken houses and made it like a little village, and you go through each house, and there's wonderful people that portray the period. One of the ones that I liked best was where they were forging iron and blacksmith, actually, and they talk in character, which is quite wonderful, and then they'll also just talk as a normal person, but really fun. The setting is so beautiful. There's water, it's green, I don't know, whoever put that together did a good job. It's clean, it's wonderful, it's well preserved. Dynamite gift shop, of course. I bought a couple of presents. I know, well, you know how it goes. And that's where I spent most of my time, actually. But it was quite wonderful. But most importantly, it's hooray for them, and I know you know what I'm talking about, in that they found the money to fund these places, to keep them clean, well lit, updated, and working. Not sort of working. It was had been a big rainstorm right the night before, and there was the gardening staff out there, just working around the pools of water and getting the leaves and the branches and all the stuff that came down, getting it out so that the visitors didn't have to stumble across, places that could be dangerous. So, another sign of good tourism. This place just seems to understand how to do tourism without being Disneyland. Really,
I love
impressed.
that. I love that. That's that authentic, real sense of place, but it's like people are living that culture. And Ben, that's the thing that, Nancy and I know about Louisiana is that, I don't know, everyone's so friendly. It is like the friendliest state.
World.
It is like it's like you are in a different country, definitely America, but the different cultures getting along together. Ben, can you give us kind of that overview of the history of the region and, these historical parks? Because they really do explain the different cultures. And man, you've got some amazing history.
Absolutely, and Linda's talked about, a little bit about it, and some of our living history museums, which depict the life of the people back in that time. But obviously, we have the history of the deportation of the Acadians who arrived in our area, but not just the Acadians. At the same time, you had several other different, folks who they had one thing in common. They were all forced out of their other living areas into our area. And so because of that, they were forced to live together, work together, and assimilate. And that's what we say now is that what happened was it formed a big melting pot of people. We call that a gumbo, of course, now. But you had a lot of different folks, whether that's Creoles or Cajuns or others, who were all forced into this area outside of their own will, had to find a way to live together and work together. And that shows up in so many of our traditions nowadays, and not just on the Cajun side, but also on the Zydeco side, we're the birthplace also of Zydeco music.
Yay.
And we have some great plate lunch places that are inspired by the Creoles, and so we're really a nice little blend of not only Cajun, which we're known for, but also the Creole heritage as well.
I really enjoyed watching Anthony Bourdain's segment. I think it was December last year that it came on. I'm trying to remember.
It was the first episode after he passed away.
Yeah, and I just dying, like just crying, because I was just watching how he showed how people are, that he really showed that how people are just so friendly and how they really are connected to their history. And I think that's something that's important, that the youth understand their history and their family
Absolutely.
history and their regional history. And I think sometimes in other states it's not as connected as it is in Louisiana. That's just my observation, and watching that episode kind of brought that back to me.
I think it's a good observation, and we're really starting to see a little bit of a renaissance, the younger generation getting more involved and really keeping that culture alive. And it's great to see. We now have French immersion in a lot of our schools, which is making sure that the French language stays as a valid piece of our area. And I believe we have 25% of our people who still speak French. And so a lot going on, very authentic and not in your face, but there's a lot of stories to be told for sure in our area.
I was going to ask Captain Tucker, excuse me. I know that you're taking people out on an airboat and, showing them the swamp and the nature and the alligators. And I want to touch on the nature part, but while we're talking about the history, isn't part of that the experience of learning how people have lived with the swamps and really had to coexist?
All right. Yeah. The biggest part of our tour is about the history of the people here and how the Acadians got here and what they did when they lived in this area and how they lived. Basically, what attracted them to the swampy areas of the basin. Acadians came all over Louisiana, but the Acadians that lived in the basin, most of them made their living fishing and trapping and hunting, and as time went on, a lot of them made their living in here, fresh trees in here. And we actually go into the swamp and show them a tree that's still standing and shows the cuttings in the trees and what they represent, and as far as the harvest of the cypress in here.
Wow. And it's just, to me, it is a completely different way of life than if you're in Southern California where you are right now, Diva Linda. It's like night and day, right?
Right.
Yeah, we the Cajuns, we laugh, we'd say it jokingly, but there were three Cajuns. There were the freshwater Cajuns, the saltwater Cajuns, and the prairie Cajuns. And the Cajuns that lived here in the basin were considered the freshwater Cajuns. They made their living, pretty much off the land out here.
Wow. So what's it like in regards to the nature side of it? When people, book a tour with you, I know it's probably everybody wants to see a gator, and apparently you like pet the gators and talk to them and check up on them. Is this true, Diva Linda?
They're all friends of mine. We have the ability to get them to come to the boat, and I have some gators that I've been fooling with for over 40 years, and you know, they become friends of ours, and we get them to come to the boat. Some of them are, if they're not too heavy, I can lift their heads off the water and pet them, and just a relationship that I've developed with the wildlife here. We certain times of the year I can usually get an osprey to feed out of my hand too. So it's not just the alligators. It depends on the season also.
They get to know who you are. You said so 40 years you've been swamping.
Yeah. Well, I've been in the basin since I'm 10 years old, but I've been living here on the water for about close to 40 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. Diva Linda, what was the highlight for you? Was it the trees? To me, number one, going on an experience like this is so important because then you get to understand what you're looking at. There's something about a guided tour that you just can't beat. But what was it for you, Diva Linda, that really, you said this was the it thing for you?
Yeah, I like this experience the most of anything I did because the tour it's magnificent. It's beautiful. Number one, it's just beautiful. It's like probably nothing you've ever seen unless you sort of live in that area. And then I'm not even sure that if you live in the area that you've ever seen this. It's quiet. It's serene. You can see how all the different wildlife sort of work together. I mean, it's just amazing to hear the stories that Captain tells. On this tour, there are quiet times where he just shuts off the boat and you just sort of float because you're looking for something or you're watching for something. And it's just a great honor to be involved in something, a resource that is just so beautiful and wonderful and so, I'll use that word again, authentic to the area. At one point or another, this is how the area grew up. I hope that it doesn't fade away because it gets sold for some other purpose. We have a lot of that kind of stuff going on in California and other areas, but just the majesty of it all, the majesty of the look, the feel, the opportunity to be part of something much different and more and special than other things I've done.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a diva approved right there, Ben.
Good.
Yeah.
Ben, yes.
Yeah. I just want to say that Captain Tucker was an amazing guy. His love for this area is just so grand. You just become part of that grandness. So, that's why I wanted him especially to be on the show because of his involvement and the great good he does by sharing this experience with everyone.
Everyone, basinlanding.com. We got to go check it out. Go check it out. Got to give him a plug. Give him a plug there, Ben. Yeah, this is interesting.
Thank you very much.
What Diva Linda is saying, to me it's very interesting because she's like, I don't want this to go away. You know what I mean? Because there are areas. Are there things put in place that to keep this sense of place in your region?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I think I'm gonna have to put Diva Linda on the payroll because she's doing such a great job explaining our area. And it's one thing for marketing for us to say we're authentic, but to hear it from her is really special. And so I just can't tell you how much we appreciate that. But I believe there are things in place. It's hard to describe, but it would be very hard to develop in this area. Outside of, sort of, I guess, pipelines and things like that, which have already happened. So Tucker probably has a better feel for that. But just from my perspective, I don't think there's really anything we have to worry about in terms of this being around for a long, long time.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that because we're headed your way.
You're headed your way, and we're loud, but we're not when we're in nature. We behave. We behave in nature. But if there's any swamp pop music, now does swamp pop happen? I know you're talking about Zydeco and Cajun music, but what about swamp pop?
We do have a little bit of swamp pop. We do.
Oh, goody. Because, like, I'm in. The music scene to me, I'm in. Put me anywhere near a swamp. Put the music on. I'm ready.
Put me by the rum. I'll be happy.
Yeah. Give Nancy the rum. And I want.
Gator.
Listen, the Tabasco thing. There's people like that's on their bucket list from around the world. I remember when we lived in South Africa, and when I was of legal drinking age, since my mother's sitting here, I have to say that.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
We used to have these cocktails, and there were Tabasco and tequila at the end of the evening, just when back in the younger days, and it became this thing where I remember as a kid going, well, where does Tabasco come from? And I always thought, oh, Spain or Mexico. I had no clue that it's got its own island. It's, I had no idea. And I've always wanted to go just because of naughty drinking time in my youth. Ben, how many people come to your areas, just with that whole Tabasco thing to like that experience because of its international, fame?
Yeah, we're very fortunate, obviously, to have the #1 brand in the world, located just 20 minutes outside of Lafayette, and it's been a great thing for our area. And just over the last few years, it's gotten even better because they now have a self-guided visitor experience, a self-guided tour where you can actually see how the pepper is planted all the way through the harvest. You can get a history of Tabasco, which just celebrated its 150th anniversary. And then when the tour's over, you can actually go into the country store and sample any kind of Tabasco you want, even Tabasco ice cream, Tabasco Coca-Cola, all of their new brands that they have in terms of different kind of sauces. So, and now you also have opportunity to eat lunch out there. So it's been fabulous for us.
Does anybody put it in tequila, or is that just something we did in brats?
I hadn't heard of that, but that's a good idea.
I don't know, but Diva Linda, that ice cream recipe you brought back from the cooking school, like to me,
that was really good.
Like as soon as I saw that, Nancy and I are going to make that because I want some right now.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Going on the tour was fun. I enjoyed it. And you're right. Who knew? I would have thought that the ingredients for Tabasco had been imported. Well, hell no. As you say, these little pepper guys have their own island. They have a huge staff. I mean, this is a huge operation. I mean, who knew? But now I know because I took the tour. And then they were kind enough to have us attend the cooking school. You have to go in the cooking school to understand how this all comes together, and that actually the chef, Chef Lionel Robin, has to be one of the funniest, most obstinate chefs I have ever met. He starts out with, he explains that they wanted him to come and do one thing as a chef, and he told him not going to do it. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it his own way. Just great, very entertaining.
That's a chef.
That's a chef.
Must be the Tabasco.
And he kept saying, and in your recipes, you have to pay attention now because I didn't put all the directions in there. So you have to listen in order to really make these things taste good. It was really, it was quite funny, and the food was wonderful. And who knew that cooking with Tabasco, I mean, in California, we use Tabasco, sort of as a, milk, and it goes on most everything, but we're very, very heavy-handed because that's our palate. But who knew that in the place where it lives, the authentic idea of it is you use a light hand in many different types of recipes, and one of the most fascinating for me was the Tabasco ice cream. I always didn't taste it because I thought, oh, it's going to be really icky. I'm going to tell you what, I was grabbing other people's that didn't, do theirs. I mean, I think I had 3 cups of it. I'm ashamed to say that. I did. It was wonderful, so easy. Once again, you want to understand, you want to be part of the authentic experience. Take a cooking class, understand how this stuff is made, why it's made the way it is, and where does your food come from? This, it's all about slow cooking. You know that. So anyway.
Well, you said food. I got to bring up Boudin because I know, Ben, if we don't mention Boudin, we'll get in trouble.
Right.
You know, we filmed a gentleman making Jeff Benoit.
Yeah.
Benoit, if I'm pronouncing
Benoit.
it, Benoit, making Boudin back in, he is up in Sulphur Springs? Yeah. And sorry, I'm not allowed to say that on this episode because I tell you what, we put that video up and it still goes crazy. And there's like a war that goes on in the comment section of YouTube. And, you know, so we have to watch this almost every week. We have to watch because people are arguing about where's the best Boudin place on this Boudin trail. And it does go, I mean, is this a whole southern Louisiana thing? Because I don't know. It seems like this is like a football game or something, man.
It's very competitive. We had the original Boudin trail. The Cajun Boudin trail has been around for a while, and
see, listen to this. It's the original.
That's right. That's right. You know, that's one of the things about the tourism industry. People tend to copy, but that's all right. But there is a lot of competition. In fact, we had a gentleman in town who moved here from up north, and he became so passionate about Boudin that he would go around and try to see which was the best Boudin, and he ended up starting a Boudin cook-off that takes place in October every year, and we have, you know, as many as 40 different entities that are competing for the best Boudin in a lot of different categories. So, and then Scott, Louisiana, which is a city in Lafayette Parish, right outside of the city of Lafayette, has been named the Boudin capital of the world.
That
story was featured in the Wall Street Journal.
Oh,
but,
now that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
so there's
right.
your
So it's
capital.
official.
That's official. Okay. Well, you know what? So there's all kinds of Boudin. I saw shrimp. I saw Boudin balls. That, you know, what I heard was like, this is something that, you know, in other, you know, states and cities, it's like, here, we're going to take you donuts to your business meeting, but apparently Boudin is what happens. Like that's
right.
If you're going to close a deal, you need to take Boudin. That's it.
That's exactly right. That's what you do. Take a little Boudin, and the deal will be closed. There's no question about that. And we actually now in Scott have a Boudin festival every April, and so it's a great thing. And it's on Saturday mornings, you know. Generally, a lot of people will go out and get Boudin, but it's all over the place, up and down I-10. I think in our region, and then so many spots that we had to farm the Boudin trail a couple.
I mean,
years
it's
ago.
even in gas stations. I mean,
Exactly.
it's like it's everywhere, and I love it. Now, do you have po' boys in Lafayette?
We have a lot of po' boys. We do. We have. Actually, just recently, because of that, they started the Acadiana Po' Boy Festival, and they had the Guinness World Record for the longest po' boy that was made last year at the competition. But we have a lot of great po' boy places like Old Time Grocery and Pop's Po' Boys, which is downtown Lafayette.
Wow,
so many great choices.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, Diva Linda really did write a book. She really loved it. But I want to, because I know there's so many. You know, she ate her way around, and she had fried pickles. Nancy, you know,
I knew
fried pickles. Yeah. I'm in with you, Diva Linda.
Pickles would appear somewhere.
There was shopping. There's all kinds of food. Boudin, which is really Boudin, and this is what's neat. You talk about the rum. Well, you know, Louisiana, you've got the sugar cane, and that's how that happens. And then Boudin is really you grow rice too. You got a lot of rice fields out there.
We do,
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, the original farm to table is, you know, the whole concept of the boucherie, where they used every single piece of the pig to make different ingredients, and Boudin is one of those.
And hogshead cheese.
Hogshead cheese, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So before each of you go, we're giving you the weekend off because I know that you never really get a weekend off, and all expenses paid because we can do that. So I want to know from each of you, how are you going to enjoy a weekend off in Lafayette Parish? So let's start with you, Tucker.
Weekend off. I'm actually on vacation every day, so it's more peace. I tell people all the time that it's a tough job that I have, but
Somebody's got to do it, you know.
Okay, so are you going to have Boudin on the boat?
If you come, Boudin on the boat.
All right, Boudin on a boat. Okay.
Cool.
So now, if you were there back in the day when there were rum runners and you know, going around in the basin and the waterways, would you have taken them on your airboat?
I don't know how to answer that. On the grounds I might incriminate myself.
Oh.
That's cute.
Well, don't tell anybody.
I can.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that. I love that. Tucker, Ben, what about...
Talking about,
Go ahead.
Sorry, we were talking about food. You know, we have a saying here that Cajuns live good and they eat good, they drink good, and they dance good, but we don't live long.
No, but it's the happiest place. It's the happiest place in America. So, so long as you're happy, that's
yeah, that's where the term "laissez le bon temps rouler" comes from. Good time to roll.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. And it's something, that's a lesson we all need to have. It's like, you know, enjoy it while you're here. Have fun, enjoy it. You got to. And yeah, that's a good times roll because I can't pronounce the other one. But anyway, and if I have enough rum or absinthe and wine and Boudin, I don't think it matters because just so long as you can get up on and, you know, dance to that Cajun music, that's the way to go. Ben, for you, what are you doing on a weekend off?
Well, one of the great things about hosting travel writers like Diva Linda is we get to really sit down and say, look, what do we want to showcase in our area? And I'm going to tell you, the itinerary we put together for them, that's pretty much my dream itinerary on my weekend off. But it's going to be, it would start with music at either Downtown Live, which is a free festival that we have in downtown Lafayette on Friday nights, or at Rockin' Bowl, which is a brand new venue downtown that has live music, and it's actually a bowling alley as well. And then, of course, a great meal that evening. Wake up Saturday morning, pick up some Boudin on the way to Zydeco breakfast at Buck and Johnny's in Breaux Bridge, right outside of Lafayette, and have a great morning of dancing and eating some more great food while listening to some Zydeco music, and then go catch a little airboat tour with Captain Tucker or somebody else on the basin. Maybe come back. Hit a place like Tabasco, or, you know, we have so many different festivals. So pretty much every weekend we have a festival going on. So I would hit a festival, then I'd wake up Sunday morning, and we have a really big Catholic population down here. So I have to go to church first, but then I would find me a great brunch location, and then I'd have to take a little nap. And Sunday night, find another live music venue to close out the weekend.
Oh, I'm in. And Captain Tucker, I do need to ask, do you so when you take people out on the swamp, there's all this bird life and the turtles, you know, I love all those. And I love the bird life in Louisiana. Louisiana has got to be one of the top bird watching destinations in the country. It's absolutely amazing. But what about those rat thingies? Do you have the rat? Do you see the rat thingies in the water? Those rats. The rats, like Neutrogena. Is that what they're called?
Oh, the
Neutrogena. What the heck?
Yeah.
Sounds like a healthy drink.
You know, the nutria is actually an invasive species. They're not native to this area. They were brought here in the early 1900s for the fur industry. They were farm raised, and there's stories on how they got loose. But the alligator population now is so large that it's rare for us in this area to see any.
Oh, wow.
Just in the last couple of years, but, you know, in years past, they were everywhere, especially in the wintertime when alligators don't eat. But alligators have thinned out all the nutria in this area, so the local fish and game were trying to bring them under control, and it looked like it's going to naturally happen with the alligator population.
See, they know what their job is.
That's cool. The cleanup crew. You have armadillos too, right? That's the one thing. Armadillos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we have armadillos.
Oh, I love them. They are the coolest. They are so cool. They're so neat. They're like little miniature dinosaurs, man. They are. They look like they come from, you know, another, you know, era. I love it. Diva Linda, you're going back for a weekend. So I know we missed out some of your shopping, and did you go bowling? Did Diva Linda
Did you
do that?
I did not. There wasn't enough time, but I got to tell you, this rock and bowl in Lafayette, what a concept. When they told us we were going, I thought, oh boy. But I will tell you this, beautiful, classy, and so surprising. We had dinner there. It was a fine dining experience in a bowling alley. Who would know? And if you didn't know there was a bowling alley, you wouldn't know. You don't hear it going clinking and clunking and all that. The bar is beautiful. The fine dining is beautiful. You have to go down a hallway to get to the. Yeah, this is the interesting part. There are about only 4 lanes of bowling, but there is a dance floor with live music, of course. That's what's so exciting about Lafayette is nothing's taped. Everything is live. And they bring in lots of bands, and you can just have it all. So I didn't get a long enough chance to experience or get out on the dance floor or to bowl. And I think I saw a gift shop that I didn't get to. But there's a bar, and get this is even better. You can buy your own. You can rent your own suite. So you can get all your friends in one suite and just be as crazy as you want to be and listen to the music and, yell at the bowlers and all that sort of stuff. Really, there really has to be a shout out to this place, because who knew that you could put fine dining, a beautiful bar, music and dancing all over the place, and bands and bowling. Who knew? I just want to say, who knew?
Well,
yeah.
This is awesome. Everyone, again, you can go to LafayetteTravel.com and also read Diva Linda's article. It's in the January through March 2019 issue of Parks and Travel magazine. And you can read it now. Just go to nationalparktraveling.com. And also keep up with Captain Tucker. Go hang out with the Gators with Captain Tucker. Go to basinlanding.com. And, of course, you can follow Diva Linda and her adventures on her blog, allingoodtaste.info, because, she's like, it's got to be Diva approved. So thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you joining us here on Big Blend Radio. Listeners, of course, you can keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. And we got some music to close off the segment. It's called Luke's Stomp. It is from the album Luke's Dream by Johnny Master and the Mama's Boys. We met them first in where Diva Linda is in Southern California. And they said, that's it. We're going to go to the heart of the place with the best music. And they're in Louisiana now. Yep. They're actually in New Orleans, but they do travel through your area. So we got to play it because it's swampy, good music. So here it is, Luke's Stomp. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Last night I dreamed, man, that I died. That's come a roll, it took me for a ride. Yeah, it felt so good. See my old friend said, hey now Luke, man, where you been? Yeah. Cherry way up high, pine down below. Man, since you're gone, ain't nowhere to go. Yeah, since you're gone, got no one to blame. Everything's so different, everything's the same.